Hello, this is Nitin Dahad with EE Times. Just wrapping up at the NXP Tech Days here in Santa Clara, California. And I thought I'd get some perspectives from an industry analyst, and I've got Saloni Gankar. Hello, Saloni.
Hi, Nitin.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine. So Saloni Gankar is principal analyst for industrial semiconductors at Omdia, and a key part of the announcements this week from NXP was around industrial AI, robotics, and factory and building and everything else, automation.
Yes.
So Saloni, I just wanted to get some kind of perspectives on what you thought about the announcements here this week. Well, the conversations and the announcement. So there was the announcement of the MCX A5, which I just talked to Justin Mortimer about. But what's your perspective on that and the broader picture?
So the event was very dense, very tech focused, and we saw a lot of engineers come in the second day. And on the first day, we spoke a lot about strategy. What is NXP's strategy? What are they looking at? So the focus now is mainly about physical AI, edge AI. We heard a lot of physical AI over the last few months in different conferences, but now we are moving towards, I would say, edge AI. The new terminology of AI is edge, and that's what NXP's new focus is going to be. Edge in different automation applications, building and home control, power and energy, and how is it going to impact grids also and data centers. That's what we discussed.
And I think it was led by their head of, I think it was the Charles Dax, who was basically the head of that industrial physical AI. So I think that's why there was a lot more focus on that as well. Otherwise, when I was at the Tech Days in Detroit last year, it was all around automotive, and then that was another focus. So this one has definitely been about physical AI and industrial, hasn't it?
It has. The focus has completely been industrial and applications of industrial.
And you know, you have been following this for maybe a few years with Omdia. Is there I think everybody now is talking about the physical AI, the robotics, the humanoids, and like for example with NXP, like everybody else, they're talking about the different pillars of, and you talked the three pillars. You talked about that. I mean, they talked about it, and you wanted to just elaborate on that a little bit, didn't you?
So yeah, it was mainly about power, latency, and got the other one. I think it was security.
Yeah.
So it's mainly about the security regulations we are seeing specifically coming in from Europe, the CRA, the Cyber Resilience Act. We are seeing a lot of latency issues, power issues. Power is impacting the grid, as I said before. And NXP has been talking a lot, whichever presentations we are looking at, whichever different specialized presentations of their engineers and their departments are giving.
Yeah.
They are speaking a lot on all of these three factors, which will impact the industrial sector in the coming year.
I mean, when you think about it, the three key speakers they had for us in the media analysts was obviously Charles at the broad sort of physical AI, Charles Dax, and then we had Ravi, ex-CEO of Kinara, which was acquired, talking about that whole right sizing of, and I know I've spoken to some analysts here that said they don't like that term right sizing, but it's basically talking about getting the right level of intelligence at the edge.
Yes.
And then we heard from Justin, obviously with Justin Mortimer from the new MCU, the NXP A5, and then the final one was Altaf Hussain on the robotics. And I think where we saw the commonality was just on that, how do you deliver this thing for what everybody's talking about, physical AI, in those different areas. So for example, Altaf Hussain talked about the robotics, the AMRs, and then the humanoids, and the big opportunity in the obviously the robotics right now, and drones, for example, and then all the future stuff in the AMRs, and then I think said by 2030, we'll see a great volume in humanoid robotics.
Yes.
So any perspectives on any of the conversations and discussions and briefings there?
Robotics is a topic that is being talked a lot about recently. It's just not NXP. Everyone is interested in robotics because that's where the industry is going, focusing on specifically humanoids. So if you look at humanoids, a couple of years back we saw a single-digit, double-digit numbers of humanoids being manufactured and shipped. We are expecting somewhere around 3-digit numbers in 2026, and the numbers will grow rapidly. It's expected to be in thousands in the coming year. And it's just not about humanoids. We're also seeing a lot of AGVs and AMRs being deployed in factories, in automotive plants, and different areas. So right now humanoids are mainly in the automotive plants, but they're going to start moving into different industrial automation level applications. And when you look at the semiconductor perspective for these applications, it's going to boom in the coming years. It's every humanoid has looking at it now, looking at the fingers, the knees and the joints, there are minimum 30 to 35 motor drives in it. So looking at those and this, the brain, the type of semiconductors that is going to explode, the GPUs that are going to be involved, it's going to be massive. So it's going to be a different altogether ball game in the coming years for robotics and semiconductors.
And I think Altaf Hussain presented that slide of all the different elements for the robot. And
very interesting.
Just to illustrate that semiconductor content and volume and value is going to be really high in robotics, especially humanoid robotics. But here we're in the Bay Area, and like we had this big launch of, I think, was it Sunday Robotics or something like that here maybe a few months ago, but we've heard nothing from them anymore. But it's still in the early stages on the humanoid side, isn't it, because of getting everything right?
It is, it's just starting. The speed is starting. Companies, we are seeing a lot of companies, like even if you look at Boston Dynamics, who has been there since a while, has been ramping up, speeding up, and we are seeing a lot of manufacturers getting involved. NVIDIA investing a lot in the GPUs. So it's going to be a lot of ramp up. You're going to hear a lot of robotics. We heard a lot of data centers before in the last couple of years. Now it's going to be robotics.
And an interesting slide also from Altaf Hussain was in those three different areas, from was it the drones, the AMRs, and the robotics. It was like the value of the semiconductors, and you can see in the humanoid robotics, it was pretty much like going to almost 50%, because the big element was that brain, like the NVIDIA GPU. So it was quite stark, that, wasn't it?
It was. It was looking at mainly the number of MCUs or the NXP kind of products in it, and humanoids is going to be massive, but not as massive as AGVs and AMRs. We're going to see that a lot in humanoids, specifically in the brain, with GPUs and neural processing units getting integrated into.
Now, you've been covering this for a while, so broadly, I mean, just outside of this event, what are the big trends you're seeing on the industrial semiconductor side?
So, number one, we are seeing a lot of revenue or growth, and specifically in military and defense, because of the ongoing defense and the geopolitical situations in the Middle East and in different areas. We are seeing a lot of investments in military and defense, specifically for upgrading the equipment, right? Which is having a massive impact on semiconductors. So when you look at those are also having an impact on the test and measurement side, because you need test and measurement equipment to test military and defense. So recently we saw some statistics coming out looking at that. Europe has invested a lot more for the first time than US in the military budgets. Europe's military budget was always less than the US, but now it has gone up. So we are seeing a lot of ramp ups in investment. We are seeing resilience from different countries because of the ongoing geopolitical dynamics, and military is going to increase. Test and measurement is going to increase, and then automation is where robotics falls under. Right? So of course robotics is going to increase, and the other area that we are seeing is power and energy. So power and energy has seen a massive growth because of the demand for electricity generation, distribution from data centers, right? So data centers is helping impact that. And these are the few things that we are seeing. Physical AI is dominating now in
The conversation or the reality as well?
I think it's right now it's in a conversational mode.
Yeah.
Reality might happen in a couple of years.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to come out. I mean, the impact we'll see is in the next couple of years.
Okay.
Medium-term impact, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, what you said about the military in Europe actually gels very well with some of the conversations I've been having. So I interviewed the ex-defense minister in Latvia.
Oh.
And I think it was last year, and it's on EE Times. But I think one of the things he said is the speed of development of drones and UGV technology to support what's going on in that region. So in Latvia and all that region, the technology has just advanced so fast, and there's a lot of companies developing those technologies and deploying products. So I think that sort of kind of makes sense. Yeah.
It's ramping up. You see, in Europe, there is a lot of self-reliance now. They don't want to be relying on the US.
Yeah.
So they're investing a lot. All NATO countries and European countries, we are seeing a lot of investment. We're pulling up budgets. We're looking at different investments. Everything is rising in military. The talk of the town in industrial right now is military.
Interesting. Okay.
So,
well, I mean, it's not something we've covered a lot in EE Times recently, but I think that is an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
The other thing, well, not other thing, but just generally, any other comments you wanted to make about what's going on right now?
So it's what we are going to see in the coming year is a lot of investments, again, as I said, in military. We're going to see grid stabilization because we saw the bidirectional charging coming out, but the question between in distributors and manufacturers has been how do we make the grids stable so that they don't collapse? Well, because the amount gets feedback in, so we don't want the grid to collapse, and how can we make it much more stable? And that's where the focus is from power and energy side. And as we discussed robotics, I think we discussed all of the things. One of the things is also security and video surveillance, which is part of industrial, and we are seeing a lot of cloud AI being integrated in it, and new softwares being deployed in security. So hopefully these will continue developing in the coming year for security.
And specifically on this event with NXP, what impressed you most over the last 2 days?
I would say the product that they have. They spoke about different nodes, that the MCUX-A5. They showed that there were different nodes that could be attached, and you could remove any node and attach a new one, and it would detect it. That's a new technology.
That's that topology discovery, which I find quite fascinating.
Same. So that was the most fascinating thing I found in the event, and when they described it, the topology, I was quite impressed with what they're doing.
In the Q&A, I tried to impress on like what I envisaged, but I think it was played down a bit. I'm not sure why, but it is actually quite an important feature.
It is. It's one of the most important features. Plus, you have security involved. They were talking about security, which is one of the major things that is needed now in this cyber resilient industry. So quite interesting.
Well, Saloni Gankar, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thanks, Nitin.
Hopefully we'll meet at the next event.
Yes, thank you so much.